Well, they should be able to. All right. Let's see you all. Rick McDowell.
Yes, sir.
Green wastewater, free Wednesdays, and farm.
We'll get lunch.
Yep. Haven't seen you in a while. Lot to talk about. Okay, here is green wastewater, the most recent accounting that we sent to the state. They're not. Good, okay. This is as of the end of July with our request for drawdowns. So you can see out of the $657, almost $658,000, we're down to the point where we've got almost $19,000 left. So we are quickly getting to the point where we're going to be done. And I think the guess is that probably by the end of September, there won't be any money left and the project will be finished, and we'll have we'll have a page on the county's website that will have 11 years worth of stuff there that people can use. So that's where we are at that. Any questions about any of the money?
No.
Okay. I'll give you an update on free Wednesdays. This is the project that we did out of Camp Lakeview, the county's residence camp on the left fork of the Mud, every Wednesday for anybody, especially we were trying to get kids. You'll see that we thought we were going to do 8 days, but we got flooded out on in the middle of July when we got a lot of rain. A lot of rain. So we did cancel that day. We ended up having 7 days. We had just under 300 people coming. Our cost this year was higher because in order to get the bus that runs through Hamlin, that stops at some of the trailer parks and picks up anybody along the way, Tri-River said that because the commission was cut, they couldn't do it for free. So we ended up picking up half of the days, so that cost us an extra $960,000. Yeah, 960. Yeah. Pretty expensive, really.
I'll take them up there the next time.
Well, that's
Buy you bus.
and it's, sometimes there were only 6 or 7 people on the bus, but they were kids who would not get up there any other way. So is it worth it? Well, in a lot of ways it is worth it. So anyhow, our cost per person this year, if you include the transportation, was $7.65. Without the transportation, it was $4.36, which would have made it our most cost-effective year, but it wasn't. And I was wondering, last year, one of the things the commission did was to give out certificates to the groups that provided food for us. We had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and apples and stuff like that donated, which really helped keep the cost down. So if you all are
Think it'd be a good idea.
inclined, we might do that. What is there a meeting you'd like me to invite people to?
It's the first meeting in September.
Okay.
The first Thursday of September.
All right. Could you have awards and everything for them or whatever?
What I did was do a certificate,
Okay.
nice looking certificate
Okay,
that
that'd be fine.
KK signed or somebody, some commission folks signed it, and we'll have that.
Made it look official.
It looked official, it did.
We're gonna let KK sign it.
Oh.
It did look official. The other thing I was wondering is Lauren Smith, who has been the chair of the County Farmland Protection Board, by statute is out of that, he can't be on the board come this September. And he's been there since the beginning, and he's been really instrumental in trying to move us to the point where we got an easement. I think we could give him some sort of a certificate on that same time. Good, okay, well, I will get those prepared for you. I was wondering, the last thing, and then I'll sit down.
Do we need to replace it?
Yes.
So
that's-
we need to post that.
We do. I think we are gonna need we could need up to 3 positions.
I thought you were taking his.
Oh, I am, but I'm not, I'm becoming the chair, but I'm not
Okay, who
filling
else?
the,
So he's not even going to serve as a
he
new.
can't serve again by statute.
Oh, I thought he just couldn't be the chair.
No, unfortunately,
Mm.
although he'll come as a volunteer. So I think we could have 3 openings. And there are categories, Mary.
Yes, I'm writing.
Sean. And one of the categories is a farmer who is a member of a conservation district. And I can do this for you.
Yeah, once you email.
Yeah,
or-
okay, and one is a farmer, is a farmer. Just a regular old farmer.
Is a farmer.
They can be a member, they don't have to be, and one is a public at large member.
Okay.
Those would be the 3 places that we have to fill. So maybe the next, will we need a motion from you all in order to advertise, or can you do that without
Yes,
being on the
we'll just-
agenda?
Yeah, we'll just advertise
Okay, all right, good. Well, I will,
Yeah, just get it to me
Get
or
that.
get it, either way, I'll get it Sean, whichever.
okay, we'll do.
If you do it by tomorrow, it can be next week.
Okay.
Thank you, Harry. No pressure.
And can we say that this might be up to 3, because we're still not sure with some people with their work, some people may not be able to serve because of work.
it.
and-
If you just call in and get,
Yes. All right.
thanks, Rick.
Next time I see you, I'll have some
Okay, are you sure
certificates
we
for
don't
you
have to
to
put it on the agenda to post it?
Wait until September and we'll,
Don't we normally do that on position?
usually we do if we know about it ahead of time. You know, if we wanted, we can do it in September. It's
Okay.
fine.
Put it on the next agenda.
It's not gonna hold you all up, is it?
I'll come to the next meeting, so
Well,
we'll have
you
four.
can't vote.
But we'll have a, do I count as the 4?
Sorry.
Well, we'll put it on the first meeting in September.
Okay,
To advertise.
All right.
To advertise,
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, next, we have discussion and concern, possible action. We have Mike Webb, Region 2 request for the Small Cities Block Grant, drawdown request for both Big Park Phase 1 and Phase 3 water projects. That's long.
Sorry.
It's all right. I had to do that SCBG.
Yeah.
These acronyms.
Sorry.
Nothing left to say, you gotta sign now.
That's right.
I have, draw request number 17, Small City request number 17 for the, Big Horse Phase 1, and it's for $67,201.98, and it consists of 2 invoices from E.R. Robinson for engineering services, and 2 invoices from Region 2 for the administrative services for May and June.
Motion to approve request and give the president authorization to sign such.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That being unanimous, motion carries.
And again, with Big Horse, by the way, they're working on the final, with the underbid, money that they had left over, the branches are working on it now. They should be done by November. That's give or take, but, so basically done and finishing up with what we did. The second draw that I have tonight is for Francis Creek, request number 11. And it is for $271,388.05. And that consists of 1 invoice from Region 2, totaling $752.18. 1 invoice from E.R. Robinson, totaling $15,129.60. And 1 invoice from Danny Sullivan Excavating for construction services, totaling $254,792.67. And 1 invoice from Griffith and Associates for accounting services for $713.60.
I motion to approve the request for the second request for the Francis Creek project and to give the president authorization to sign such.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That being unanimous, motion carries. All right, let's check that, make sure we got all that.
See you everywhere.
I'll pull it down here. And by the way, this came from the Lincoln PSD, the alcohol project, the work project, is ahead of schedule. Everyone wants me, they, I want to say February 20th or so, is the substantial completion date.
Okay.
So it may shift a little bit with weather and things of that nature.
Do I sign on the front end of this?
Just about, should be just about.
Just making sure.
My error, maybe.
No, that's fine.
I'm left-handed, they could be all over the place.
So they're looking to finish that, 25th is February, so.
They should be in line for substantial improvement. Now, they may have to do some cleanup work after that, or any.
Are they, you think they're gonna have any underruns or anything like that as far as?
I'm not sure. I would do my gut trust me, they may. But
I was just thinking
I'm-
about some of these projects over that area, we only heard about one control.
Now, they're already looking at branches that they can turn to fill in. Yeah, anything feasible at this point, they are looking at branches to fill in as far as that goes.
You don't know how far that, well, it's basically not near this other project we was talking about, is it?
This, Heritage Road?
No, that's right, okay.
Any questions?
Thanks, guys.
Well, I got it in front of me. Let's jump to Jim O'Day with the Allen Creek Fire Department. Jim, you'd like to speak? I think you'll see, you have this in your packet. The, Jim is requesting, is it, a drawdown of, was it $40,000 from the levy?
Yeah, it's, I don't remember the exact amount, it's on that, 48,000 and change, it's in
We have
the
that
account
in there.
now.
Yeah, he had,
We submitted bills, copies of checks and everything that far exceed that, and just asked for the balance of whatever's in the account to go ahead and be reimbursed.
well, your balance in the account's actually $48,289.90, so you can have all that.
Okay, well, we were hoping to get all of it,
So, I'll move that we do, give the, Allen Creek Fire Department a drawdown of $48,289.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
That being unanimous, motion
The new truck is on the way.
Let's go to Rick Helton, proposal for commercial building permit fees.
Thank you.
I know that you had to travel, when you're traveling back.
I've got a board meeting at 7:30 and then back to State Fire Convention in Ripley tonight, and be there till Saturday and then back to work Monday.
That's a lot of moving.
Plus you got that Josh. I got grandbaby at the house, it's tolerable.
Commissioners, good evening. Just wanted to provide maybe a kind of a picture of what we're talking about for the planning commission as far as the proposed commercial permit rate.
We talked about the last meeting, I don't know, it's been a while, and, wanted, just to look at it, and, but Rick's here, he's, I guess, you're gonna go ahead and discuss it in detail. Go ahead.
As you can see up under the commercial projects, this is just for the last year, from August of last year when I took over the position as the floodplain manager to this month. These are the permits, the commercial permits that are either have already been designated, as you can see there, by building permit 7514 for the first one. Either have a building permit already issued to them, or they're pending. You look down at the bottom of the page there, you can see their PF is pending funding and or pending the collecting the building permit fee. I just wanted to make note real quick. Part of the proposal was for small business owners, $100,000 and under, to be still have a fee based on the residential rate, and 9 out of the 24 that you see there are at that rate, and the ones that are under $100,000 on the project cost, those are the ones that qualify for that. So the building permit, the commercial rate is calculated for those under the residential rate, except for the application fee, which is $300 is what we proposed. In summary, basically, if you go down through there, it's about $30 million in projects. Currently, if we collect all of that under the residential rate, it would be $34,511. If you approve the commercial rate at $5 a thousand, that would increase to $166,395, making it a difference in plus of $131,884. The last 9 that you see at the bottom there are 8 water projects. The Big Hearts, Francis Creek, and the Upper Mud are already underway, and the rest are the Yale Robinson, the Lower Mud, Ranger Bottom, the water tank, Ransom Midkiff, the tank, the 2 Mile Creek, and the 6 Mile Creek are all just pending funding by Yale Robinson. That's from their documents that they sent in to me. The Upper Mud River is by Thrasher, and I've got their documents where those figures come from.
Hey, could you just go ahead for the record and state the residential rate?
Residential rate is currently $25 application fee and $1 a thousand.
$1 and that's what we have right now,
That's what we have
regardless
right
of the size of the project, whatever.
Regardless of size of project.
All right, can you go ahead for the record and state the commercial rate, proposed commercial rate?
It's $5 per thousand.
That's
And then
that's
that-
over 10, or over a particular number.
Whereas at $5 a thousand over $100,000, first 100,000 is based at $1 a thousand, so that'd be $100 for a $100,000 project, and then the $5 a thousand after that.
It's the application fees, $25 on commercial too.
The on commercial would be 300,
Okay.
because a lot of these projects are in the floodplain or have some floodplain
So
decisions to be made into it.
regardless if it's under 100,000, they still have to pay the $300 application if they're a business.
Well, that's what we have proposed. I mean, of course, that we could change that.
I'm really glad you did this, because, I've looked at the other stuff, and I've kind of tried in my head figure out, how much more it's gonna cost, individuals and businesses and things like that, and I kind of wanted to look at, do you know if this proposed rate, do you know what the commercial rate that they charge in Boone or Logan is? Do you know what their rate is?
Yes, sir, I do. Logan currently, and I was in a training this week with the floodplain managers from a lot of the counties in the state. Logan currently right now is a 0.25%, so it's basically $250 for a $100,000 project. So if it goes $1 million, it'd be $2,500.
What would it be
On our scale, it would be $1 million project would be basically $1,025 currently in the residential rate.
But what would it be in the new scale?
Under the new scale, well, that would be, let's see,
Let's get it.
99 times 5, and then add $100 to it. That's what it would be. Plus the,
So Logan is not, what did you say it was?
Logan currently charges,
Like you said, $5 per thousand is what, so what would theirs be?
theirs is currently 0.0025% of total costs. So on a $100,000 project, it would be $250, but they are also looking at raising the rates because of the coal severance issues and things, and it's my understanding Boone County's doing the same thing. It's going to
You
do
know what the
something.
Boone rate is?
The Boone, I do currently, in non-floodplain, a $100,000 project is $100. But it's, in a floodplain, it's a $250 base fee plus $1 a thousand. So a $100,000 project would be $1,250.
Basically, about every county in the state has commercial rate. This was actually mimicked after Kanawha County.
Correct.
And
I've talked,
I talked to the Commissioner Hendricks in Boone County, and, I was telling him about our commercial rates, and they, he told me that because of their decline in revenue, that they are looking to probably adjust theirs, and depending on what we do, is probably gonna depend on what they're doing, what they're gonna do. And I told him that it was a proposal of our planning commission to kind of be uniform with Kanawha County. And he was talking about doing the same thing here. But, if you look at commercial, talking to Rick, if you look at these rates, from the state, all across the state, they're, all over the place. There's, different,
There are several counties that charge 1% of total cost, which is basically $10 a thousand.
Right. But I think that was the consensus of the planning commission. I know some of the people were here, is that we were trying to do something that would be uniform to an adjoining county. And I think that it's good work. I think it will help our county bring revenue, and I move that we accept the commercial.
Can I say something before we
Go ahead.
go back? I think we do need a commercial rate. I'm not saying that we shouldn't not have a commercial rate and keep it at this residential rate. I am concerned that the increase is so much from what we've had. I think we want to invite business here. We don't want to make it more difficult for them to come and do business. I mean, with these tax increases and stuff we've already had to go through, a lot of people are struggling. And we want to support the people who are already here doing business. We don't want to make it more difficult on them to continue. I mean, it's already hard enough. And maybe this is, but, I just have concern with us being compared to Kanawha. We are not Kanawha County. We don't have the stuff Kanawha County has. I think if we should look at like Wayne County or another county that's more comparable, to our makeup here instead of Kanawha County.
I think the rationale from the planning commission was looking at development and how development is coming down the corner. And, we could, you could go back and you could do another rate from another county, or you can do this, but I don't think that when we're talking about commercial building permits and we're talking about the amount of business that's in this county, just speaking with Rick and Rick telling me and talking about the people that are coming in and putting in business, one of the things that they are looking for is, number one, we have no zoning. So like you can come in and you want to invest $1 million in a Dollar General, and somebody could build build a barn right beside of it, or they could have a pig pen right beside of it. And when you're coming in and you're putting in, investing a lot of money in this county, it's good to know that, hey, listen, yeah, you do have commercial fees. You do have, a distinction. So what we're doing is we're not really burdening our citizens. All we're doing is whenever people come in, they know, just like in every county in the state, that they're going to pay a commercial fee. I mean, if the thought was that this is prohibiting business, then we should be loaded up right now with tons of business. But there's a lot of stuff going on in our county right now, and this would actually give us $131,000. I mean, if we would have collected this, we would have $131,000 and change that will go directly in our coffers. Like, it's not something that you have to split in a levy, like you're splitting with the board, or you're splitting here with the fire and ambulance. I mean, or I should say, splitting with another entity I can't even think of right now. But what I'm saying, this goes directly to us. And I think that this is a good thing for our county.
But correct me if I'm wrong, because when the building permit fee started, it was kind of started to use as a tool so the assessor's office could keep track. Somebody came in and wanted to build a business, a new house, and they applied for the permit. Then that was a mechanism that the assessor's office could say, okay, here's something else we need to be aware of.
I wasn't, Commissioner, I wasn't around when that fee was.
I think that's my understanding, that's what it was started for. I don't think that we can use this as a cash cow, because that's not really what it's.
No, I don't think that that's the intention. I think the intention is that, whenever you have commercial business, that, we are going to charge there's more work that you have to do, you're going to charge a commercial rate. I mean, it's the same thing if you have a union scale. You have a residential and you have a commercial rate, you know, even union scale. I
Like I
mean,
said, I'm not opposed to having a commercial rate, I just think this is a little bit steep. I think we need to maybe gradually, and somebody told me, for example, the dollar store, you all maybe mentioned that. When they got their permit, it was $300, is that right? What was their permit?
$975.
Is it on here?
That's what on the Yawkey you're talking about.
This is cross development, Dollar General Yawkey,
Yeah.
building permit 32-15.
Okay, I was told it was 300 and it was gonna raise to 3,000, so it did raise to 3,675.
You know,
I mean,
go ahead.
I just, the thing about it is, you know, if you're going to dump $1 million and build a business, you're going to expect to pay a commercial building permit fee. And I mean, it's not like that, if you say, all right, well, your building permit fee is, you know, $1,630, all right? And you're talking about a $346,000 project. It's not like that these people are gonna say, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because of that fee. I'm just saying, I mean, it's something that we need in this county, it's something that will help us, and, you know, and it's good to see that these people are going to, you know, companies are not going to exploit us. I mean, you know, let them pay their fair share.
If I just may share one observation, and it's just my observation, and it's my understanding that most of these water projects, the county already has $100,000 invested in each one of these projects as a part to obtain federal and state funding for those. And this would just be, if you look at any of them, Big Hearts, I mean, you've got $100,000 into the Big Hearts project, and the fee would be, which we haven't even charged them anything yet. That's what the permit or the pending building permit fee is out there for. It would be $18,020 for a permit for half of that project, where you've already had $100,000 invested in it as the county. And that goes to Yale Robinson and to the water company that's actually putting it in. So that's not really a draw on the
Well,
customers.
That's one of the comments I was gonna, the first comment I was gonna make is I think they both got really valid. Where they're coming from, I can see both sides. And, but I do think if we look at, along your comment, federal grants, things like that they're inherent in that they're gonna know, they're gonna pay a commercial fee for doing that. You know, when you're talking about a $3-4 million project, they know that, but what I would like to suggest, and I know we'll have to deal with the motions on the floor, but I would feel more comfortable by taking this right here and looking at it from a, and I don't really know exactly, I just, some idea I have is maybe we need to bump up the threshold from 100,000 up higher as far as where you would get the 5%. Maybe you go with a graduated, go with, you know, maybe over 100,000, you go with 2.5% or 3%. And then once you get to the threshold of $1 million, which most of these water projects are all $2 to $3 to $4 million, then you go ahead to the 5%. Because they were required to have prevailing wage on those jobs and things like that, as far as what they pay people to do these jobs and things of that nature. And the building, and when they develop these jobs as far as costs, they build that cost in is what those commercial fees are.
That's the same thing, just like with the project, as you know, it's coming from Logan County. You know, they're getting a commercial building permit.
Right,
You know, we're not getting anything.
Well,
We're
and
residential.
that's what I think, you know, we need to realize, but I would feel, I kind of would side with Commissioner Harles as far as how high it is for, you know, when you look at the difference. I mean, I'm not saying we don't need to do it, because I do think this is something that's long overdue as far as the way other people do it, and we've not been doing it, so. But I do think that I would like just a little more time to look at maybe looking at a graduated thing, so that if we look at, because the people we don't want to affect, I mean, to my notion, is the people that come in here with their own money, going to put up their own business,
Yes.
and try to hire people to work. So we don't want to charge them what we would have someone that's basically using federal monies to come in here and complete a project, and they have all this built into their system anyway with these federal projects. So, and those are the ones that are the highest as far as the cost, or as far as what they're putting in the county. So those would reflect more of the fee. I mean, I think if you, I don't know what it would do when you restructure this, but I bet you it would go down quite a bit, but not to the point that it wouldn't be a workable type thing. And then you protect your residents, you protect your small business people that want to expand or do things like that. But you also capture the federal dollars, part of the federal dollars that come in here on these federal projects. I think we need to look at them maybe from somewhere along that angle and then revisit it.
I think that is a good idea.
If I just may throw two more comments out here. First of all, if you look at all of these projects, other than the water projects, these are all out of county, and most of them are out of state companies. The only one that I know of out of the group, just looking at it, other than HG Energy, which is building permit 6815, which was under $100,000, would be Rock Springs, which now we know is closed, where they built a bathhouse out there for that $357,000. Everything else is, these are all out-of-state companies coming in here doing business. There's not a local individual involved in it at all, unless they're a stockholder or they're using some shadow company to do this. The Mountaineer Gas at the end with C.J. Hughes, that's of course that's a local company in the state, in the area, and that's a pipeline issue they've been doing from one end of the county to the other, and they're willing to pay a fee. They just don't know they're just waiting on the commission to decide what to do.
Well, like I said, I just feel that, to me, it seems much more fair if we look at it from a graduated type thing, but I do agree with President Matthews that we do need, some kind of structure in place that more reflects what modern times are as far as these tax structures. But I don't think, like I say, I would, and like you say, these are all out of county companies and things like that, but a lot of these, if you look, are infrastructure development.
They are.
So that means you're making these places more likable to businesses as far as positioning themselves coming into the county and things like that. So those are the ones I wouldn't want, mom and pop businesses or whatever, or maybe even a little bit bigger than that. I would want them to say, well, gosh, we can do this in Kanawha County, it's gonna cost us, $3,275, and that's on the $650,000 project at CGP Development. But I can come into Lincoln County, or work in the same area and do it for $1,200, $1,500 less. I don't know, that doesn't affect, these people's thinking when it's $3 and $4 million projects. I mean, I think like I say, I think those have federal funds in it, they're basically know they're gonna have to pay that. But these other people that aren't using state or federal monies to build businesses, I really think we ought to give them the benefit of the doubt in these type of things and show that we are business friendly toward that.
The last comment I'll have, and then I'll get out of the way, is the Big Hearts Water Project alone, the Department of Highway paid $32,000 in fees, or were paid $32,000 in fees for that project alone. That kind of gives you an idea of what E.L. Robinson is paying other state agencies for fees.
When I did, when I was in Morgantown, I talked to some of the E.L. Robinson people because I knew we were going to address these type things, and they were very comfortable with what I was suggesting. Of course, it didn't really, it wasn't it wouldn't negatively impact, as far as their concerns, it wouldn't be negatively impacted by us going with the fee structure and things like that. But like I say, I really did, when I talked to them, I didn't have this in front of me where I could look and actually see. And to me, I think, in looking at it, kind of what I thought was that maybe we need to look at, and I do appreciate the job you guys have done on that, because I know this is tough work, and I know it's not easy to come up with things and be able to get people to agree on things, but I think in looking at it, I'd feel more comfortable if we could wait and maybe me and you run through some of these numbers and get them to the other commissioners and see what they think about them, maybe before the next meeting.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second? Going once, going twice, there's no second, the motion fails for lack of consideration. Rick, thank you for all the work that you've done. People on the planning commission, thank you for the work that you've done. Go from there. All right, next we have financial statement and sheriff's settlement. Ms. Harms.
Ms. Harless.
Commissioner Harris.
Why do you say me?
Because you had to put on the financial statement?
Oh, yeah,
To get it, yeah. She did.
Well, okay. Our person that we had preparing this for us resigned back in the spring. So we have been in the process of trying to find someone and have not had a whole lot of interest. There was a person, Mary Ann Clater, who has sent in her resume, I guess you would say. And I have it here. She has retired from the auditor's office, worked there from '93. Last year she did 3 of these settlements, 13 financial statements, contracted for 2 settlements and 12 financial statements now. She performs from this task for Mason and Preston County currently. She's going to charge us $50 an hour, which will be $8,500 less than what we paid last year to get it done. And, you know, I just think we need to get to move with this, because these are due, is it 90 days after the first meeting in July?
It's set as October 15th now by statute. It
Is that what it
changed,
says?
Oh, is it?
it changed the last session.
So October 15th, you have to have.
They were all in and about that day anyway,
I
so
think
they
I
just,
have
they
to
just
agree.
finally just
Okay.
set a date as October 15th.
And I know, KK's, we always want to try to get an accountant or something.
Right.
And,
Somebody that's wrong, somebody that has insurance in case
Well,
something.
but I will say this, I did talk with a couple of commissioners that know this, Mason County, was that one of them?
Mason is one that she's working
And,
on.
because I don't remember which county he was from, but he was well pleased with the work she did, so, you know, he didn't have any concerns.
I think she has actually audited us here before in the past, so she.
I know.
The only reservation I have is to make sure that she has some type of, she's bonded, she has insurance in
Right.
case she messes up. Because we got into, whenever I first came on the commission, we were in a
You know,
situation,
she does.
but she could pick that up.
Oh, she could pick it
Well,
up,
I'm
yeah,
sure she
probably,
could,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So I would like to, if we could we table it to the next meeting, talk to her?
See if she'd be willing
Yes,
to
if
do
she'd be
that.
willing to do that, and that's my whole, I mean, you know, because we kind of, whenever I first came on, we were in a situation, kind of a weird
Yeah.
situation where you had 2 different entities
Right.
doing
And-
exactly the same thing.
Had the same
and you
address,
didn't-
and yeah.
Yeah, two different
And,
addresses.
you know, and I, having lived through that with the president, I know exactly what he means. But how would that affect the timing of the thing? I mean,
Oh, we have till October.
Well, I mean, she has to get that done
She
by
does.
So
October,
that's
yeah.
lengthy, I mean, it entails a lot of.
Well, no matter who does the financial, there's it's just a disclosure. And it says on all the financial statements that an audit may change the results. So it's kind of got a disclaimer on it anyway, no matter who does it.
Well, can we check with her, and then she'll have a month to do it.
Or if
I
you
mean-
want to, we could, you know, if you want to go ahead and approve her pending her being bonded.
Let's do
That's
that, and that way if
concern.
she
You
does
know,
it, then we
Well,
can.
All right, I'll motion we go ahead and hire her for the financial statement assurance settlement with the presumption she will achieve bonding in the meantime before she starts.
I second that. All those in favor? Any further discussion?
Well, we need to probably say Mary Ann Clater.
Yeah.
Can I,
Right.
Mary Ann
can I ask a quick question?
Go ahead.
This, as a contracted service, does this need to be bid? I just noticed
No.
the PSD does things like that, and other agencies.
No, it's gonna be under $5,000.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and the other thing of it too, we're facing a real timeline. We've kind of been looking around for a CPA since Mark decided he wasn't going to do it.
Okay.
It's not been readily available to us, but I still think even though we do this, we still need to look at, you know, it, depending upon what kind of job she does and how comfortable we feel with it, we may also look long-term to do something else with it instead of.
I mean, Sean, to be, frank with you, I mean, we've called everywhere,
Okay.
trying to find this and that, but as far as statute's concerned, if it's under $5,000, we're good.
No problem.
Okay, so did we vote on that?
We need
Did we
to, all
vote?
those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have the Public Service Commission final order dismissing case 15-0618-PWD-PC.
What is that, Mr. Matthews?
What is
Oh, it's right here.
You got it there, it's in there.
Okay, this is what, if you remember, it's been, I don't know, at the beginning of the year, there were some people that came in, okay? And they were gonna put water in, I think it's Horse Creek, over towards Morrisville, okay? And what they had to do is, the Lincoln PSD had to lower, or actually decrease their customers by, I think, about 8 customers. And the PSD from Boone was going to increase by 8 because they were going to take those customers over. Now, we have to approve this. This has already been approved by the Lincoln PSD. It's already been approved by the Boone County Commission and their PSD. So in order for these people to get water, we have to move to
Yeah,
basically.
'cause if we, it's my understanding we thought they won't get one.
Right.
Is that right?
Right. So I move that,
Wait,
excuse me, go ahead.
you have to wait till Florida provides you with that resolution.
With the resolution, we don't have the resolution.
Right. See, those
I thought that
people,
we were gonna have the
well,
resolution.
he didn't get it. Those people,
Awesome.
those people that came,
Yeah,
they seem to think everything is in order, but Ron Flores is the attorney for Lincoln PSD, and he says they need to approve it one more time.
all right.
Okay.
So
So
we're
he-
waiting on a resolution from
Yeah.
Ron Flora.
Which is
But they have
their
already
attorney.
approved it once.
Yeah, he says they've approved
And
it
then
once.
it went to the Public Service Commission, and then they didn't they didn't submit us a resolution. That's how, that's how it went down. So they said, well, you have to do it again.
Right.
And then whenever I talked to Mary this week, I was like, call Ron Flores to get the resolution, and evidently, he has a lot of things to do. So, I guess we will wait until
Yeah.
September
So you just want
to do that.
Sorry.
Table
yeah.
this to the
Let's
September.
table this
I
until
motion to
September.
table the final order dismissing the case.
All right,
Okay, I'll second that.
Sorry, I don't.
any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye, that be unanimous. Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have unfinished business, possible action. We have Ken Farley Sheriff request for one part-time employee for both government day locations for $9,378. I've spoken with Ken Farley. Ken Farley said that he feels like that they're gonna be able to try to manage this, so we don't have to act on this.
Good.
Next, we have Josh Brumfield, assessor, request for funding for a part-time position for government day, $10,000. Now, I've spoken with Mr. Brumfield. Mr. Brumfield feels like that he needs this position. He is willing to pay $3,000 for the phone bill down at the library, so we don't have to pay that. And speaking with him and knowing the situation that he's in, I move that we grant him $10,000 to hire a part-time position.
What, 3,000 for the library?
Well, it's the phone lines at the Allen Creek Library
Oh,
that they have
okay.
installed. It's gonna be about $3,000.
So they haven't got those working over there yet? They've been having government done at home?
They have been, well, no, I think he's got the phone lines.
Yeah, the phone.
He's paying the phone bill, or we're paying the phone bill, I think. But the phone is in, we're paying.
Phones
Right.
in, we're paying. at
We're
the moment,
paying.
Yes.
But he will pay it. He said that he will pay it, and we go, for us to cover the part-time employee. And I know that he needs it. He stressed to me that they're strapped on this. And, I don't think $10,000 is, I think we should provide this for him. Since we cut it initially, we wanted to start back, and, Ken feels like that he can do it, but Josh is missing, he's missing a data collector, because we cut that, and, we're behind. We're gonna be behind on our tax collection because of that. We're not gonna be able to pick up any commercial, we're not gonna be able to do that, and they're gonna be behind on new appraisal. They're just gonna be, they're just treading water right now because of that. But I think this will help them.
But no, he doesn't send an appraiser those days. I mean, it's just.
No. But what I'm saying is that a lot of times, and this is what he's talked to me about, the last person that was here was trained. She was actually cross-trained to be a data collector, which helped them out. So I was hoping that, if we could do this, I'm sure, because next year, and I spoke with him next year, if, you know, we're gonna have to look at providing an extra day of coverage, and I think you've talked to him as well. And that's important to our revenue. Right now, we don't have anyone, taking in new commercial properties, basically, personal property and commercial. We don't have anybody taking in, or actually going out and taking data on that. I mean, you know, if people fill out a card, I mean, you may fill out a card, you may say, hey, man, I got this and this, and you may have an
Well, now,
enterprise.
is he planning on using this person for that position next year, or what?
Well,
Or hiring
I
additional-
think-
It's my understanding he's gonna hire an additional person.
Well, I think that if we can, I think he might be able to work this person into that position next year. You know, because they're gonna be there, and they're gonna be, I mean, I'm sure with the person that he had last time, that he was able to cross-train that person.
So if we, basically, we're looking at 8 days a month, 12 months, 96 days, if every day they were open, so we're gonna be putting in $100 a day on this person, right? Or a little bit better than that. I mean,
Yeah, something like that.
So this person he's wanting, would that person be the one that went to the government day offices?
Yes.
It would not be she, because the other girl actually stayed here, and one of his girls.
I mean, I don't know how that would work. I mean, he would have to work out the logistics there. I know that, you know, he had somebody going over, but he had somebody filling in here. And that, I think, with the nature of what they have to do.
But
I
they
think
were
that's
just
what-
working the desk, I mean, that's where he.
Well,
feels like he
I
can-
guess, I think, and I think some of them actually went out and took data, that they were trained to do that. So, there's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Going once, going twice, don't have a second. Motion fails for lack of
I
consideration.
motion we table his request to the next meeting.
Motion to table the request to the next meeting.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. With that being unanimous, motion carries. So we're gonna table that to the next one. Next, we have a donation to the Branchland Library. Received several different phone calls. They're constructing a library there at Branchland. And, you know, they have a lot of money into this. You know, I think that they're gonna need help. They're trying to buy new furniture. And I was hoping that the county commission could give them a generous donation. We haven't gave any contributions. And, you know, we actually fund these, you know, keep the doors open on these libraries. And I was hoping that we could extend our hand. I'm going to move to donate $10,000 to the Branchland Library.
Can I say something before?
Go ahead.
This is a little, I think, and Ralph, you can interject on the library, the furniture's the problem now, isn't it? I mean, that's where you're falling short.
We had a
Okay, and-
meeting, we formed a small committee, last Tuesday to help raise funds.
And I think that you all have applied for a grant to help with that, and I think the most is $10,000 though, right, on the grant? But it is a match.
Most
It's
of
a
the
match.
building should be in place, but yes, most of it will be used for furnishings.
Okay, well, someone called me that was working on the grant, and she said the grant was up to 10,000. And they needed the match. But
A
she
match
didn't-
of 10,000?
Right, it was a match, okay, but she didn't know if they would get the whole 10. You know, she really didn't think they could get the whole 10, but maybe 5. So I think we should wait and see when it comes down what they need, and then we need to make every good effort to come up with the money to help them on it, to do the match for the grant.
When will you know about the grant, you know? Because you guys about got the building built over there.
They should, yeah, we should be in the building by the first of October. The only thing to be holding up maybe was Appalachian Power. Need the service into it.
But I think that if it's a $10,000 grant, they could get up to $10,000. I mean, we haven't put any money into it. I think, I would hope, I mean, I would like,
It is an important thing, in not only I live there in the community. The existing building we have, Doc knows where it is at Rancher. It's not the best. That's a nice looking facility, we'll see a lot of use out of it. Over home, most of us, those that use the library, we go to softball. The Ranger kids, they go to softball. It's gonna be we're gonna have an assembly room, we're gonna have a place to meet, which we don't have over there under. Or we can get together and talk, and go to a church house or something, or pay a fee at the fire department. We'll have a small assembly room, or the community. So anything we can get from the commission would be greatly appreciated.
Do you know
And
when
we've been
you-
asking for donations, and we're working toward that. We've got a couple of fundraisers scheduled, so.
Well, since it's a $10,000 grant, I can amend the motion to make it for the county commission to match that grant up to $10,000. I can do that. I mean, if y'all be all right.
Okay,
All
so
right.
Donna can let us know on the grant and we'll go ahead and make the motion and agree.
I'll amend that
Pending.
motion that I have, I'm gonna amend the motion that I have, to say that the county commission will match their grant that they are seeking up to $10,000.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That being unanimous, motion carries. Next, we're on to new business. Ladies and gentlemen, you can look at new business, I'm sure you have.
A lot of
One
minutes.
thing that you look on page, I think it's on the next page at new business. There's two members from the Solid Waste Authority that are wanting to attend a conference on litter control and solid waste. It's gonna cost $852.24. It's right there. Oh.
I wanna make sure it's not in Hawaii.
It's Canaan Valley Resort and Conference Center.
Okay, Canaan Valley. But I think we paid for this last year. If I felt like it was gonna be a problem or something, I would've put it in a discussion to talk about it. If you'll feel comfortable with it, we can take it out.
I think the Solid Waste Authority has been very helpful with us and helping us match some things and help subsidize some things, so I think that was.
So if we don't, go ahead.
Comment on the approval of notice of vacancy for 2 detective positions, Lincoln County Sheriff's Department. It's my understanding that's not advertising for new positions. It's basically getting our people under code so they can check with the pharmacy board about meth use. People buying Sudafedrin and things like that. So that's not a new position or anything of that nature. And I talked with the chief deputy, the amendment to the regulations, policy, and operation procedures and things like that to rank instruction promotion, because I wanted to make sure that this wouldn't affect the rank and file or the civil service participation. And he assures me they're not, so I have no problem with either one.
All right, nothing further, can we have a motion to approve new business?
I'll second it.
All right, second. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
With that being unanimous, the motion carries. Hey, it's been a great day. Open discussion
Okay,
about Vance.
I got a few things here that I want to mention. I wanted to talk with the commission about us going ahead and making sure that with these water projects, that we have a live documents maybe we can look at to make sure that when we say we're going to match funds for this project, that we know that from one year to the other. The reason being is the problem we run into, one of the things was the $50,000 request from TSD for the Deer Run project. And that was approved 2 fiscal years ago.
When I first came on.
Right, and so and finances have changed since then. So we need to make sure we're monitoring all these projects and our prior commitments and things as we go through from year to year. And especially have those available for us in March when we do our budget, so we understand where these things are.
We ran into that last year.
Right, exactly.
We ran into
This has been a reoccurring problem, but I think we need to
$560,000.
correct
Maybe
it.
I can check with Software Christie at Software Systems to see if there's some way we can make a note on our sheet that runs off on the budget. Maybe leave
Well,
notes on the
and the other
bottom
thing
of
I
it
think
that
is
they can be
important
removed
is-
when the time comes.
So I think it's important for like when we're doing these self-help projects too, for them to realize that these projects have to be shown, they have to be done within the fiscal year. We're not allowed to basically promise money down the road. We're only allowed to operate within our fiscal budget for that fiscal year. So we have to make sure that these projects were approved, much like the project that was brought forth us today, that they can go, when we get the thing back from the Lincoln PSD, we want to make sure they can go ahead and, it's pretty well shovel ready, that we can, if we give them the money, they can get it done and things of that nature. Because I do think we need to look at finding monies, whether it be in building fees or whatever, that we can use for these self-help projects. And if you're under a mile in distance, we know we can do those projects. We've done them before, so we know we can do it. I just don't think that we're I think we need the structure of the water projects development, we need to be aware of at all times, so we can follow it through from one fiscal year to another fiscal
We
year.
ran it, well, we did, we ran into that last year.
Exactly, and I
You
think
know,
we need to wait, if the county clerk can check on it for us, we appreciate the fact to be included in the software somewhat, so we can monitor it. The other thing I wanna say is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but how much more we pay for gasoline in this county, especially over on Route 10. I got gas the other day there at Pleasant View, and paid 50 cents more a gallon than I would have in Barbersville. And this is something that's in Pleasant View, it's at West Hamlin, and Salt Rock that I've seen. Now, I haven't been over here enough, although I do think they're.
It raised 30 cents in one day.
But, you know, to have a 50-cent jump, and this happens a lot, I don't know if the guy has a computer at his home and he watches the news of the evening and he pumps up the gas for 50 cents. Well, you know, Jake, I mean, you've been over there, and that's totally ridiculous. I went to Walmart in Putnam County and got it for $2.40 a gallon today. And I come back over here, you know, not Hamlin, because Hamlin's pretty close, but if you go over our way, he's brought it down some, or they brought it down some, but the whole Route 10 area in there that I travel, I mean, you know, you're looking at, if you get 10 gallons of gas, you're gonna pay $5 more at Pleasant View than you do somewhere else, and it just doesn't make sense to me. So I'd encourage anyone in those areas that's upset with that to contact the Attorney General and ask him if that's price gouging or not.
You wanna put that
You know,
on the
it's
agenda
like
for
up
next
at
week?
Harts, it's 254.
Right.
You go up 10 miles, it's 289.
Well, that's what it was in West Hamlin the other, I mean, in Pleasant View the other day, it was $2.89 and $2.90 a gallon.
We'll
Two-
put that
it was
on the-
244
the
out here.
agenda to send a letter to
Same day.
the Attorney General, asking him about the dramatic
I
price
think
increase.
someone does, there needs to be some kind of mechanism that they can monitor these things, they're supposed to be monitored anyway. But I mean, when our people, we don't have a lot of money, our people don't have a lot of money, you're talking about paying additional, every time you fill up the tank, paying additional $7 to $10, when if you get to Barbersville, you wouldn't have to pay that, so there has to be something along the line, and I'm not saying people don't need to make money.
One time they had to empty their tanks. If you pay $2 a gallon, then you suddenly raise it
Yeah.
to, you know,
Well,
you're double dipping. Right now, it's instantaneously they.
But I wouldn't care to make that motion next meeting if we want to send a letter to Attorney General asking to make sure that, you know, I'm not saying it's illegal, but I'm just saying for him to check and see if it is price gouging or not.
let's put that on the agenda for the next meeting. Can we do that, Mary?
It's the same refinery.
The last thing I just wanna say, I wanna brag on our local newspaper here. You know, I guess you all saw the article that they printed, which showed that, the awards.
I don't know how that got in there, that article.
And I also want to, I've thanked Sean many a times for the job he does, but we are very lucky to have someone that writes the quality of work that he does. And I wanted to thank him for that job he's done, and I've told him before that the accolades he receives is well deserved.
Thanks, Tim,
That's all I have.
very much.
Go ahead.
Well, there was a couple of things that I wanted to mention and see if we could get put on the agenda next time. First of all, the turkey shoot's gonna be September 12th.
We need to apply money to that. We need to commit money to that.
Well, I think the Parks and Recs is funding it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, maybe we can send him a letter and
Remind them,
appreciate their help.
yeah.
So just tell them, say, hey, we really appreciate it.
Because they agreed to that and.
Oh, I think that's
Oh, it is
That's what
right,
we
we
did.
did do that.
Yeah,
We
so-
asked them to do
Yeah,
that.
I think we just put on general approval letter to send to them, thanking them for their help.
Okay.
'Cause I think that's, you know, all us guys that, you know, they never kill any turkeys up there, by the way. But I mean, all us guys that shoot and things like that, and I've not been up there, but I've talked to plenty of people that have used the site and our deputies use the site and things like that. But I mean, these are the type of things that Lincoln County is appreciating. And I think it's important that we continue it, so, but in the next meeting, we'll send them a letter and say.
Yeah, and we'll mention it again the next meeting, so remind people to, when it is. Also, I noticed on here, apparently we didn't get any applications for the board, community center board at McCorkle. Nobody applied. So I guess we need to repost it again in the next agenda and see if we can get anybody interested in it.
Make some phone calls.
Yeah. Because there's 2 positions and we didn't have 1 application. So we need to do that. Also, the courthouse facilities fund grant is due in October. So I think we need to start thinking about, because we don't want to wait till the last minute and try to get it together. But we need to start thinking about, and put it on the agenda, I don't know if we need to do that today, to try to seek that money.
Yeah, I think it'd have to go on the agenda.
Yeah, so
So
let's
that
put
doesn't-
that on there.
Doesn't keep you from working on it ahead of time.
Right.
No, no, yeah.
Yeah, so we will be going after that grant to start work over here on the church. I think they've raised the amount that you can get too, I think. It was less than 100, now it's 180, 180, 190 that we can get. Yeah.
And that can be used for the church?
Yes. Yes.
They-
That bill passed?
That,
Yeah.
That bill passed.
Okay.
yeah, it did. So, and there's a small match, 20%, I think, match
Right.
on
I
it.
think thanks to Senator Stallings.
Yes, that was. So, I mean, I really feel that we are obligated to do something over there.
That would help us
And
out.
we-
when
we
get the
have-
magistrate.
we
I
have-
mean,
Yeah,
Get the family law judge over there,
And-
because we can get reimbursed from
And
Supreme
Judge
Court.
Ellswick's very positive about it. He really like to see things happen. Of course, all our judicial system like to see that happen.
So, I guess that is all.
Last thing from me. All right, hey, I talked to Alan Holder, cell phone tower at Yawkey is, they're waiting on one thing to come back.
That's right.
Then in about 2
That's
weeks,
right.
it's probably gonna, they're probably, if they get it back in 2 weeks, they'll start. Next thing, you had mentioned getting Alan Holder to Harts Creek to have a meeting on cell phone service. And we need to set that up. I called Alan and told him, he said he'd be fine, he'd love to go down there. Good call, there's a tower down there, and I think, I talked to, Senator Capito's office and Senator Manchin's office, and they are working on AT&T and Verizon.
This came up during Congressman Jenkins' visit. It was brought up, and basically Lisa Ramey from Hart said that there were several people willing to donate sites because our concern is always, we've been trying to locate sites from Harts to Chapmansville so we can hook up to that cell tower and things like that. And she says there's several people that would be willing to donate sites. And she asked if Alan could come up and talk with them, and I said, well, try to set up with the commission and see if we can set up a meeting to do that with them. Because if we got, that's the main, as we all know, is to make us get those sites identified. And that's the first step we have to have, then we can see funding for those.
Because the permitting process on that is lengthy.
Yeah, the big thing that we're running into with AT&T is, they had that big merger. And, a lot of times when that happens, they pull back the reins a little bit, and then they're upgrading their services on their towers. And I think that they're actively working with AT&T so that we can get these carriers to come and get on our towers. And, here's the thing, if we can get this, if we can get them to come, we're gonna open up service all over our county. It's gonna, you looked at the propagation studies just for, even like the Yawkey Tower, you looked at that'll help all the way over into Hamilton. So it's a big deal.
I talked with Capito's person there at the meeting about that, because she has a Capito Connect thing she's running and things of that nature. One of the problems that was identified at that meeting, I think Greg was there, was the fact that we're kind of left out of the count because of the people that they count into Chapmansville, or they count into Huntington, things like that. So we made them aware of that they needed to make sure that when they figured out what we needed, that we don't have service here just
See,
because
all
we
of
got
Hart's
service.
cell phone, and on cell phone, Chattanooga gets credit for 25508 at zip code,
Well, they
says
talked about that.
Lincoln County.
That where your bill came to.
Where your
remember?
bill, yeah.
Yeah.
Talking
Where
about
your
it
bill.
And Capito's people say they're going to try to determine some way to make sure that the people that live in Lincoln County are counted as people in Lincoln County versus Chapmansville or some other place. That's all.
And last thing that I want to say is I appreciate everybody that worked during the flood we had down at Griffithsville, all over the area down there. It was bad. Rick, appreciate the job that you've done. I think you went to a meeting and certified 19 bridges.
Several of them, that's one thing I wanted to, I have an alibi, I forgot to bring it up.
Go ahead.
I did a 2.5 hour conference call on Tuesday while I was away at training with the state flood folks. Lincoln County has 125 bridges, private water crossings as they're called for FEMA. They're not actually state road or county bridges. that have been destroyed or majorly damaged,
125?
125, in the 5 storm declarations that are out there right now, which none of them are covered under either public assistance, which are county roads and things of that nature, or individual assistance where people can get money for themselves to help fix it. One of the things that we've been made many calls on, and other people have too, is to have FEMA start considering these bridges as a special circumstance because of the health issues of people. Can't, your EMS is impeded, your fire is impeded. A lot of people having to walk that are elderly that can't get back and forth, that type, to their homes. So out of those 125, I went to a meeting with the state folks and some of our volunteer organizations that are taking this on through their foundations. And I wrote 19 permits last week for the first 19 in Lincoln County. That's split between Griffithsville and Harts, and I think there's some in Alcohol, there's a couple in Ranger, so I mean, spread over. I made sure that we had them spread around the county, this first 19, so everybody would get a little share of it. This conference call was on day before yesterday. There was like 40 different organizations, including FEMA National, FEMA Regional, the Joint Field Office out of Charleston is currently working the current disasters. There's probably 6 professional engineers in there. They're all coming up with ways and designs to try to hit. Lincoln County is their #1 county they're looking at. Boone County had like 40, Logan had 13 or 14. So Lincoln County by far was the most affected by the recent storms. So they are looking for funding to get out of the box with the first 19. Actually, there's 20. 19 in Lincoln County and 1 in Mingo County because of a health issue. So that should be underway here very soon. So hopefully we'll see some improvement. And then after that's done, they'll start picking up the rest of it.
So you've issued the permits for these?
Yes, I have.
But you're unclear exactly where all the funding is gonna come from to help this?
Yes, that's correct. I wrote the permits as a conditional permit with the state approval. The state flood NFIP guy was there with me, Kevin Sneed. And we went through our ordinance and made sure they were all, unfortunately, it was like somebody blessed this list. They were all either approximate A zones or X zones. X are out of the flood zone. Approximate A's, there's no studies done, so there's some latitude with the type of work that can be done in it. So those 19 permits were conditional permits so that these volunteer organizations, the American Baptist, Mennonite Disaster Services, Methodist churches, Team Rubicon, West Virginia VOAD, all those can go back to their foundations and their boards of directors and take on some of the money issues, going to Lowe's, going to some of these steel manufacturers, looking for girders and concrete providers to try to get some grants or get some donations to try to start working on these bridges. So yeah, those were 19 that were issued. None of them have started as of yet, but they were issued so that those organizations would know that the permitting is there. The permitting has already been passed through. It's been signed off on. So they only thing they'll have to do then is design the bridge, get the materials, and the volunteer work will come for free from those organizations.
All of the 125, these 19, I assume were the worst, complete loss.
Most of them were, including a gentleman that came in and see Chuck Atkins. I've had probably 5 meetings with him.
I've adopted him as a grandparent.
He's come in. In fact, when before this even happened, the Mennonite Disaster Services looked at his place specifically and said they were, out of the 3 that they knew they were going to do, his was going to be one of them. And when I told him, he about came to tears. So I mean, he was very happy. He was very happy. So,
Really.
I like to thank all those people down to the Duval Volunteer Fire Department.
yes,
You've talked to them.
Wendy
Yeah.
and all that group.
And,
Yep.
they worked hard down there, and, everybody that's working down there, at the football field and baseball field.
And I wrote a permit.
It was a mess.
I wrote a permit on that bakery also there, so the Mennonites are also doing that one to go ahead and get it back up so she can go back into business. So that one's already working on it. That permit was written separately.
And you've already met with the Army Corps of Engineers
Yes.
on that $100,000 grant
I had a-
study to help us.
I had a meeting with them last week. We've got our agenda set up. We're forming up the who we're gonna have in our first meeting, so make sure that we have this first, what we're trying to do, what we're looking for, what our outcomes are gonna be, what our goals are gonna be, for that $100,000, so that we can actually track from Hamlin, probably New Hamlin, from the Hamlin Hill, all the way down to Yawkey to see what we can do to get in there and start looking at what needs to be cleaned out, that type of thing.
And they're gonna do it, they're gonna do the study,
They're-
they're gonna
yes.
tell us what we need to do, and then, you know, it's on us to seek funding for it at that particular time, they may even help us.
Right, we've already got a $200,000, well, the Corps has, I mean, I've helped him put it together. The Corps has, looking at matching funds from the State Hazard Mitigation Fund. If they can get $200,000, the Corps has already committed $200,000 of their money. If the state will come up with the other $200,000, that's $400,000 plus our $100,000, that'd be $500,000 that we can already get started with. Because this study is, the $100,000 is for one study. But we have to have the money after that to
move on it.
to move on it,
But you have to have the study in order to.
to know where to put the money.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, you know, thanks for your work, thanks for everything that you did. Hey, I don't have anything else. I move that we adjourn until the next meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. I'm gonna go back on there and sign. Sign, sign.